There you go. Obviously, if people watch this back in the morning, they won't see the entry, I guess, but replay. Oh yeah, no, I like that. Well, that's tapped into. That's nice.
Couple
Happy.
equal high, it's an equal high there. What is it? Yeah, I'm on 1 minute.
Way off that. Not quite. I don't look for them real lower time frame stuff anyway. But like I said, I'm fairly happy that that's tapped into. Obviously, it's filled or about filled an imbalance there, so that's pretty close enough for me, I guess. Oh yeah, it's filled it on the 1 second. So yeah, see, it's all. I mean, I always check that. Obviously, I try and tell you all too as well. But basically, you want. Obviously, I think we've had the 1 minute break to the upside now. So obviously, we've got a push down, a pull back, further push down, and then we've taken the last high that puts in the low. Always worth checking. Obviously, just put a level line from that. Check what it's tapped into. Obviously, if that was just half filled an imbalance, and obviously if there is stuff lower which I've got marked, but obviously we would obviously if I'm going to set the order on that, and we're going to take the chance that yes, that's what it's this is tapped into what it wants to do, and then if that's the what it's after, then kind of so be it kind of thing. So are these the equal highs you're on about, Matt? These two.
Just 1 minute. I was on the 1 minute chart. Yeah, that might be it.
Out there.
No, mate. No, I was on the 1 minute down at the PO in the POI. No, it can't be the same as.
Well, what I mean, this is another good sort of signal. I'm anyway. I can't get that to stick.
Oh, I've got that too. Yeah, yeah, I've got that as well, actually. Yeah.
There we go. Stuck. I think that's about bang on level. Maybe a pip out or something, or pip couple, but equal highs. Oh, that's not stuck on anyway, is it? It's at the top of the thing. No. Almost perfect equal highs. Not quite exactly, but that'll be a pip out or two. But basically, this is a good sign, obviously, because that's where the price to the right is tapped into, and this is the order block. This sort of area there is what causes this equal high to be taken as well. So it's a good reason why price might have tapped into where it has. And then obviously to the right, up to current price, it's tapped into that and showing signs of break to the upside. And obviously there's imbalances up here, which is good for a target. I'm sure there'll be other things going on as well. There's probably liquidity underneath here as well, by the looks of it. So possibly a good. It looks like there's little equal lows or something going on down here.
One of you lads send your structure in the chat because I'm well confused right now. Because I had a buy, I had an entry on the 12th of March. It hit. I'm still in a 15 leg from Feb.
Let me
You
zone
know,
out.
that's why I'm a bit lost at the minute.
I've got the POI as 20th of March.
Yeah, and that POI was my entry, and it
Yeah.
tagged
Right.
it, and it went.
Well, if you caught that, mate, because that's the buy that George caught, and he carried it all the way up to here.
My entry, my tagged entry, it hit it. Fucking hell. 11th of March at 1 o'clock.
Fucking hell, got on this. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Bang
that
on,
one
mate.
there. Yeah, I've got it. I've got
Yeah.
that as a POA.
So what's different though? Because why is my
Well,
15? Where have I stopped?
well,
Obviously,
what?
your 15 is different.
Yeah, well, what I think you've got, mate, is obviously, I don't want to speak for you, if you like, but
I bet you're right.
if what I would say you've done is you've done the um. So obviously, with the 4 hours pulled back majorly, and it's tapped into this zone or whatever, it's kind of
Yeah.
relevant. So the 4 hours bullish, obviously,
Yeah.
it's pulling back. I I would say you've got a real good 1 minute break above here. So
Yeah.
if you said that that's your 1 minute high, because obviously there's a pullback from here,
Yeah.
then we take
That's
the
one.
low. So you've
Yeah.
tapped the POI to the left at a major 4 hour. You've then waited for the 1 minute break, and then obviously
Yeah.
it's come back and tagged you in over here.
Correct.
Yeah. Whereas obviously I'd say that's my one, and then I've got this marked as a 15. So which is why it's then gone. It's come back.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and obviously I've marked the 15 from this overall low anyway. So it's the same low
Yeah.
that you was waiting for your one after your 1 minute.
Yeah. Okay. That's
It's,
fine.
it's,
I
ju-
was
it's just
just,
that where you got in with the 4 hour and the 1 minute telling you it's going long, and then we've had a favour 15, and that's what it's come back for. So
okay.
if it's going to go now, obviously I've got the 4 hour marked as this overall big structure, yeah, big huge bullish. Let me click on the 4 hour, you can see more on
Yeah.
it.
See, your 4 hour bearish leg,
Yeah,
I've got two 15s in there. That's it.
yeah, yeah, that would be right. Yeah, because we get a break here, so that counts as a
Yeah. That's right.
that counts as a leg. I'll draw it out because obviously Lucy's on and she's trying to learn. So obviously this is a low that puts in the high.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that just takes it. It's not by much, but it does take it. And then obviously that's the furthest point it pulls back,
Yeah.
and then we just take the low. Now,
Yeah. And that's where I'm at currently with my leg.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I've got yeah, I think that's possibly one leg. But what I've done is obviously I've picked a
Yeah.
it's such a big leg. I've just gone that's possibly a pullback
Yeah.
there, and then we've broken that. And but I mean that with that said, if that is one leg, now this is where structure becomes very difficult because this might be a pullback. It might not be. It's it kind of meets the rules. You know, it just trying to think if
Because I have
maybe.
actually also in the opposite direction got a sell set up.
Yeah, I understand that because if this is the 15-minute leg, we're in this area that obviously I've got marked, it's
Yeah.
just wicked above it. I don't know what it's tapped into, but
Yeah.
obviously I just had this marked.
Oh, yeah, no, that's a similar POI to mine,
But
to be
if
fair.
that's if that was your POI,
Mm.
this is the possible cause of is that an equal low? Because this is where it might change again.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, it just does take it just by next to nothing, but it does take it. So that's where it gets taken. That is the structure leg.
Yeah.
So it does count, but it's not a much. Two pipettes, that could even be a feed issue, I guess. But
Yeah.
anyway, the point is if that's not taken on all brokers, and then this makes one huge leg, was if obviously if the 15 remains bearish, and if it remains bearish anyway, it will take the 4 hour low off. No, there's loads left, loads of price action left. Ignore that. So if it is staying bearish on the 15 and the 4 hour is going to continue pulling back, and this is the overall live leg still, then we're in a prime area to sell off. So I completely understand it. It just depends if you think this is a pullback or not. Now, obviously, we're on the 4 hour and we do pull back. It's just so it's sort of like half meets the rules. all three. It meets all the rules, but like I always like it to take the opposing 15. So if you look at the bullish leg, let me just redraw all this because that'll change it slightly. So if I just pick this low here, we get a high put in the, we get a high, low, high, low, high, low, high, and then we get a change of character. That's right. So I'm going to leave that there. What I like to see is these opposing lows put in. So obviously to the left of the screen, so I'll draw a box and I'll not extend it. And then I'll do the same on the opposite side. We'll change it color. Um, Not the one I wanted. Purple. Are they too close? Too similar? Kind of don't really matter. So, obviously, to the left of the screen is bullish. This right-hand side is bearish on the 15-minute. Just so, no, I'm going to change that. I don't feel like that's good enough. Uh, Yellow and blue's fine. So yeah, the right-hand side is the bearish price action, obviously, because we're making lower highs, lower lows. Left is higher highs, higher lows. So I prefer, now this isn't a rule kind of that I've not actually added to my rules for structure, but I prefer if I draw a level from all these lows, I prefer price to break these levels as opposed to its own levels on the bearish side. And it's the same for the bullish stuff, but I'd prefer it to take highs to the left, if that makes sense, on the bearish downside, well over here, obviously, if there is price there. So that's what I mean by opposing highs, and I prefer it to take the opposing stuff. So I prefer this stuff on the right to be taking this stuff on the left, not its own, say overall same direction highs and lows. So that's why you'll often see me mark the from this side and not so much on this side. Sorry, bear with me a sec while I shout at my dog. So yeah, so if we think that this is a 15, if whether we think it is a 15 or not, we can kind of go, well, it has it's not taken an overall 15 low because well, obviously this one gets taken by this, so that's the first one wiped out. They're kind of a match. Them two lows there are a match. This one gets taken by obviously this whole leg, possibly, and obviously possibly that one's the same, all done by the same thing. And so because this doesn't take really an opposing one, it might not be classed as a thing because this leg's still live, maybe. So yeah, that doesn't kind of clear it up, but that kind of makes me wonder if this isn't a pullback, but time will tell, won't it? I think we're in the right area for it anyway. There's good confirmations. It is a lower. It's at least a 1 minute high or a real good 1 minute high. But yeah, I see buys and sells, so I understand you having both, mate.
Yeah, but well, obviously when I was only paper trading when I had that buy on,
Hmm.
unfortunately, because it tagged fucking like a sweet dream. But
Yeah,
the sell, well, I'll say
yeah,
obviously it's miles away from
yeah,
it
yeah,
at the minute. I'll just see how it goes,
yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah, it'll be a difficult one as well because it's got to come through so much price. Like
Mm,
ideally, after it took this low, if it had pulled back then, you'd want to be pulling the trigger then, you
yeah,
know.
So I mean, it
So
just kind of it did the 1 minute break, but it hasn't even started
yeah,
coming back up.
yeah. Like I said, and I think this is where George closed his trade out because he was just following this
Yeah.
overall, obviously 15-minute bullish price action. So obviously every time it took a new high, I mean, I'd class it as my one, but George, it would have been 15 for George, which it doesn't matter what you name it as long as you're consistent with it and you see the different stuff. So, and then obviously George would have been taken out at that point because he was every time it made a new high, he was moving his stop loss to the most relevant low. So we'd have got taken out about there. I say taken out, like, I mean, it would have been about, what would he have been? Because I think he was in about there-ish. So maybe 500 pips, maybe four-ish. He might have gone up here actually, but you kind of get the idea. It was a big move. He held it for a long time and
No one's going to look like that,
two or 3 weeks, depending on where he actually got in. So yeah, he would have made decent cash on that. Um, but yeah, anyway, I think we're in the right areas for major buys. Obviously, it might not happen. It might. We'll see. I think we've had sufficient confirmations. Like I say, it's tapped into something that's half decent in there. It's given us a break to the upside, although it's not the best break to the upside, but it is a break. It's taken liquidity. So if that's if that is a good trend line, I can't remember.
overall bullish, aren't we? Like
Yeah,
long term.
higher
Yeah.
time frame, mate. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Oh, fucking hell. Yeah. Jesus. Yeah.
yeah, I suppose the main thing is, mate, is there's all this price action under here that it could come for. Obviously, that's the most
Mm.
recent kind of low. It's just if it was to come lower still, but
Mm.
like I said, I think we've had sufficient enough to at least go. Yeah, I'll at least put a low risk trade on. When I say low risk, I mean monetary value. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just looking at the whole thing. I like the look of it. Just like even if we think about it from this trend line here, obviously price pulls back, we get an order block, puts in the low. Maybe this is why I'm at this one because this might not be a structure low, but it's a structure high. Sorry, that it might be one leg. But if we think about it from the perspective of this order block here causes liquidity to be taken and it gets plowed through, so this could be it closing through that. Oh, don't want to that one. It going through that and turning, obviously, it's gone through the possible manipulation candle. So that might be saying like that's a flip in the market, although if it's not a structure high, if that makes sense. It's
Yeah.
it's a meaningful confirmation still, without obviously it maybe or maybe not being a structure break, if that makes sense. It shows intent, obviously, anyway, at least. Um, yeah, so I do like the look of that. And I do think we are, like I say, perfect position for major, basically a new 4 hour leg. That's what I've got it marked for. So if it buys up from there, I don't know what that lowest zone is size wise. Looking like a 3 pip kind of thing going on, maybe four. Can't remember what spreads are on your eurnzd. Let's say it's 3.5 anyway. If it does, like obviously I wouldn't. I don't. I'd probably recommend taking money on the way if it goes, but if it takes a new high, if it's right, if the structures are right and it's doing what we think it's going to do, it makes a new 4 hour high. 300-ish R nearly. T take 20 off every 50 or whatever. I don't know. You can build an account decent on that, you know. Obviously, everyone will do their own thing, but that is a good looking setup. And at the worst case scenario, if it does tap in anyway, I think it will come in and into this order block. Because again, this is the idea with this is that would generally be a good point of interest because obviously it took liquidity. We've got the same kind of thing going on in all this because obviously there's possible liquidity in there. If that's what took it, is you'd say it's at least going to go into that order block. So you'd still be looking at 50, nearly 50, even just up to this kind of area there. Um, right, let's move on. Is there any questions, anyone? Anyone?
I'm good.
Nah.
Oh, good. Because you two are regulars and you kind of know what you're doing. So every week it's like, any questions? Like, nah, I'm all right.
Nah, just when are you going to start doing signals?
Mate, yeah, probably not. I don't like the pressure of other people's money, so
Oh yeah, no, I totally blame you every time I lost.
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I do
Why
now.
why is
But,
why is the channel so quiet? Why can't it be busy like Gas or FVG, the blunder ones?
Um, why I think it's quieter, mate, is
That's a rhetorical question, really. I don't
yeah.
think I've
Well, I
answered.
mean, I think I know the answer anyway. To be fair, mate, is because this isn't so easy. So obviously, I think people just pick the easier option. So that's kind of what I think anyway. You know.
I
But
like it.
well,
I
the
was
thing
getting
is,
too distracted on the other stuff.
yeah. Well, I think
and,
the I think it's harder to learn this, but like if you catch one trade, you can almost in one trade you can make what a gas trade could in a year kind of thing, you know. So
Yeah, yeah.
you know you might this might take a year or two to get somewhere nearby, but like if you start looking at 4 or 5 years down the line, like you've the obviously because it's like a snow. Once you get it, you start snowballing and can snowball
Yeah.
fast, you know. Whereas
There's no
gas it will
comparison.
glass will
That's
trickle
my
along.
thinking. The
Yeah,
same. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So right, I'm gonna. What I did anticipate kind of doing was maybe trying to pick a blank chart because um, Lucy and Lauren was both on last week and they wanted to know from a blank chart how I'd approach it. So just bear with me a second, guys, and I might try and attempt that if I find something that I like the look of. Can you hear my kids screaming?
No,
no.
Um,
can't hear mine either.
right. I'm going to attempt. I'm going to attempt this. So, obviously, you can see I've got no markings whatsoever other than old structure marks. So, this low being taken is irrelevant. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and show you
Where are we?
this maybe a trade from this. That was a terrible circle. What I'll do is I'll mark it up for you can see it from the 4 hour, and then I'll make a couple of marks so you can kind of visually see it, and then I'll delete them, and we'll go from there. So we've got a major high here. Obviously, that gets taken by all this sort of stuff. So at a glance, this looks like that is maybe the cause of the high to be taken. And then from there, we get a break to the upside in here. Obviously, so once it taps the 15-minute POI or the POI, we'll then want it to tap into it, preferably take liquidity. That's market open, so I'll check to see if that counts, but it looks pretty good there. So takes liquidity, taps into the POI, gives us a break on the 1 minute to the upside. And up there. 1 minute break there. I'm gonna, like I say, I'm gonna delete all these. It's just obviously we use played out tr possible played out trades and old data to try and figure out what we're doing going forward, kind of thing. So taps POI, breaks 1 minute, and then obviously that would mean that the entry is hopefully there. You know, I'm assuming that makes sense to Matt and Luke. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty straightforward for you
Can,
guys.
can I just say one thing?
Go on.
I mean, I don't know if you can see, but you've literally nailed it. Like,
Sweet.
nailed pretty much all of it. And it takes
Yeah.
me about 4 hours to make one trade.
Well, I mean, obviously marking the highs, the liquidity, and all that sort of jazz. It's not noise, but it's just part of it. What we're really looking for, I suppose, is we get this sort of like downwards structure going on. So from there, we get a low there. We pull back hard, don't take this high. We take the low again, and then we get a structure shift there. That's what stands out to me anyway. So if it wasn't for this, which is I think on last week, Lauren mentioned about head and shoulders pattern. So I mean, it, I don't like to call it that because the pattern is there. So we've got a shoulder there, we've got a head, and then we've got the right shoulder inversed, obviously. Now, obviously, I tried to explain last week that yes, it's kind of a head and shoulders pattern. Obviously, it's a reverse one, but the important part is the structure level points. So the main points are that one gets taken, that low gets taken there, and then obviously this is the start of the head move, if you like. That being broken in the reverse direction is the actual signal. So if this sort of area here didn't take this high, then your head and shoulders patterns null and void because what you would end up with is so I'm going to try and draw it exactly the same, just elsewhere. So that's the pattern. If it doesn't take this high, yeah, it's not a sign that it's then going to continue long, and it's more than likely going to make a new low. But at that point, it could come down here, and you'd go, oh yeah, there's me right shoulder, but it hasn't broke, it hasn't told you. Now this is why I always say, obviously structure breaks and internals irrelevant. This could do that. You would have bought from here thinking it's obviously the pattern, but this leg would be internal because it hasn't taken a higher or low. Then it could do that. Yeah. So how we would draw the structure is obviously it'd be from that high, low, and then we would draw the next leg once it takes this low. So our structure would be that. We would skip this internal thing because we know that that's nothing because the high or low didn't get taken. So we would possibly, well, we should save ourselves losses by waiting for these structure breaks that we want. Um, and yeah, but that's what my eyes are drawn to when I see these breaks, and you can kind of make the story up before that if you like, but yeah, I mean you two will get the gist. Right.
Yeah, I looked at that, but I couldn't get convincing POI out of it.
No, so
I was looking at it earlier.
yeah,
This
it's.
week I looked at that.
I mean, I'll delete that. I'm gonna. If you didn't have that. Now, obviously, I would just say, obviously, you'd look in these kind of areas, try and find an imbalance. There's maybe liquidity to point you in to be up a bit higher because there's no reason why you couldn't go, well, it's why didn't it come down? is this the move here? Do you know, this has filled a huge
Yeah,
imbalance, and then it's broke up here. Should you be waiting to come further down here for the entry? But if there's, say, liquidity somewhere around here, obviously I don't know. This is
yeah, I didn't get that.
well, I don't think that's good enough anyway. But
Yeah, I didn't. I looked, so I didn't find one.
that might be, you know, good touch. Yep. See you later, Luke, mate.
Yeah,
Cheers
In
for
a bit.
coming on. Yeah. So it's an overall. Obviously, it takes a major high. There's possibly this liquidity here, and what we're looking for is the cause of this one being taken, if that's good enough. So if that's the case, we would say this area here, this kind of area there. Obviously, these candles here don't aren't the cause of it because it pulls back, and then we get an impulse from there. So straight away, I would be saying somewhere from that low, somewhere in that area there for the imbalance to be seen. Um, then
yeah.
obviously,
With that trend line, that makes a big difference. I didn't have that trend line.
yeah, yeah. So obviously, I've just drawn it roughly for now. Um, and then I would say we'll look at just looking at imbalances around there. So we've got a decent little few up here. So I would include them anyway. We get a huge one here, huge one there. And then obviously I'd include the low, because that's technically what the order block is, you know. So from there, what I would obviously now we're doing this from a blank chart. I'm going to do this from a blank chart. I don't know what the fuck that is. Um, but I'd basically, if I'd have spotted this at this point here, if I had the liquidity marked, I'm basically saying you're waiting for price to clear off, do its thing, come back, tap into this, and then you're just waiting for the 1 minute break to the upside. And then if you get that, you look for the entry. So let's just try and achieve that. I'm going to go up the time frames. I'm assuming we're all sort of like intelligent enough to know that we would set an alert on top of the box, and then we wouldn't have to like stare at it all day every day. So if you imagine that line's your alert, as soon as price touches that, you obviously get a message on your phone or whatever you use, and so you wouldn't need to watch all of this.
You can put an alert on the box, don't you? You don't need to draw an extra
Yeah,
line.
yeah, yeah. Oh, well,
That's what I tend to use those.
I mean, I'm just drawing a line here just as a visual
Yeah,
representation for people that will watch it back.
yeah.
Don't know how long this takes either, so
29th of April.
not quite in the box.
All right, yeah, it depends on the story. 29th of April at 7 p.m.
Well, that's when it taps into the box.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm assuming it might fill this imbalance that I marked anyway, because obviously it'll wipe that out. Oh shit, just dropped my coffee. Fuming. Oh, safe. It landed right up.
This time of night, drinking coffee, I'm mad.
Hey man, I've been playing football today. I need this to be awake and alive at the minute. It was a killer. And
Football's a tough game.
it was only against the lads.
Yeah, I read it. I read
But
it.
yeah. But I mean I give up football. I think it was 4 years ago now because I've got bad knees, so I've had three three knee operations, and I've got no cartilage, and it's bone on bone, so
Ooh,
I suffer with my knees anyway. So
dude, you're in the right club there.
yeah,
I'll send you my X-ray one day.
yeah.
My knee
Uh,
X-ray.
when obviously price has now tapped into this, so I'll just go back. So you'd have got an alert at this point here on your phone, hopefully. Just gonna delete that blue box, blue line. So obviously you just open the chat and you'd go, right, we're looking at the structure at that point. We're just going to, I'm just gonna draw it so you can see it roughly. So we get high. You would maybe like this is spread hour, so this is questionable. Yeah, this is market open, sorry. So depending on if you trust it or not, this is each an individual person. I don't like it, but people may have thought it was this. So we get a new low there, and then we technically get a bit of a break to the upside with this here. So people would possibly take a loss on this occasion on that there. Now, me on the other hand, obviously I've marked these imbalances in this area, so I would wait for this just to be tapped into anyway. And as we can see, it's about perfect. I think there's more candles to be printed there, but obviously I've done it as it tapped into the box. So ideally, we would want price to come in and around to this imbalance to be filled because it's always coming to tap and fill an imbalance within a couple of pipettes of whatever it's doing. So could have been fooled by that being broken here, but patience and discipline would tell us to wait. So making good decisions would save us losses. Now, obviously, the current structure high is this one here. Now, even if you had that and it was all right and this wasn't market open, what it's obviously if it broke above here, there, obviously you'd maybe take a loss. But then what it's done, it has made a new low. So we would adjust the structure to according. It's obviously finally tapped into the point of interest. And then once it's touched this imbalance, we're then waiting for this to be broken. So it's you'd have adjusted the structure slightly. Oh, it's a tongue twister for me that. And then obviously we would wait for that high to be taken. And I also recommend setting an alert just a little bit beyond this. Because obviously if you're looking at this, what it could do is it could pull back and then make a new low. And then we would, if it did do that, made a new low after it pulled back, we would then just remark the alerts until the point of interest is taken. Or you'd move your point of interest if you liked this sort of area down there, which would be fine, but you'd still be waiting for that 1 minute break to the downside. Don't think that happens anyway. So, but yeah, making use of your alerts so you're not stood watching charts all day, every day. Now, obviously, this high being made and what is about the low right now is two-ish days, 2 and a bit days. So you won't want to be checking that all day, every day because you'd get bored. So alert would be on this high. I'd say reset one just below the current price, and then obviously which would wait for whichever gets tagged, and then we would reevaluate when it comes there anyway. So we get the break at that point. So that for me, because that's my 1 minute high. I know I'm on the 15, but it's just so I can see more candles on. At that point there, I'd be telling you to go and find an entry. So straight away, I'm drawn to this kind of area. So we get a big impulsive push there. On the lower sort of time frames, like the smaller structures, somewhere around here looks like a significant-ish high because we get some bearish price action here. So that one being taken about there is of interest to me. We maybe get some. Just going to come on the 5 minute a second, just see if there's liquidity around that area. Some people would say that they're relatively equal highs. Obviously, they're not good enough for me, but that doesn't mean it's not. It's just something I wouldn't use as I wouldn't be turning to you and saying, yes, that's liquidity. And turn that blue because it's not an entry yet. Could come in that as well because there's a decent push here. I would check all of this anyway. I'd literally, I would recommend checking every minute on the 10 second for the up until this point here. I'd say check it and anyway, but I'm just trying to find a couple of the better areas where I think price would come back for. So obviously the 5 minutes a good indication. So it's low enough that we would see real impulsive imbalances created. But I wouldn't trust them as go, yeah, that's me imbalance kind of thing. But it's a good. It could save you a few minutes here and there, I guess. I mean, I don't really like looking at charts for hours and hours on end. So, but yeah, all we're looking for is a imbalance to be filled. Uh, we've got that there. Quite a big stop loss. Now I've got that quite big because there's this, possibly that there as well. But obviously we get the real push from there. uh, we've got a couple of decent imbalances from here. There's maybe this here as well. I'm just going to mark a few. Got this here. Well, that one's about filled. Delete the blue box now. A couple of nice little pushes away. That is spread hour. Yeah, so now a little bit of a tangent. Obviously, there's imbalance there, just above the green line here. Yeah, decent up push, decent down push as well. Spread hour goes through it, but like I say, we don't believe in spread hour. But you can see here it comes back and fills that imbalance that appears to be filled already. But so that just tells me that what I say is well, I believe to be true. So from that point there, it would just be a case of narrowing down where we think our entry would be. Now, I've just possibly spotted. Get stuck on there. Possibly that. Trendline liquidity. So obviously, I don't really use. Pretty close. Pretty close. Which would maybe. Maybe indicate that this is something as well. But is that there? So what I'll do is I'm just going to turn all of them blue other than this one. Now, obviously these, I mean, that's a huge push as well. I'll leave that one. There's them up there as well. I'll leave them all green. I think one of these will be the entry. I think it's one of them that it could be any, to be honest. But there's, like I say, we'd use the lower time frame stuff to try and help us reduce it. Now, obviously, I would say the actually we've maybe got liquidity up here as well. Get stuck on the fucking candle. Short. That one. See, there's that there. No, short there. Shit. Yeah. Don't count, don't count. Well, I was sorry, what I was trying to do, I thought if that's a trend line there, that would maybe indicate that one of these higher ones is a better position. Um, but I mean, it's just a process of elimination at that point, or you'd risk taking a couple of entries, maybe one of these and one high up here. These kind of line through with this huge down push, so there's maybe a breaker block kind of thing going on in there, which means that this one here would line up. Uh, we'll just play some candles and see what gets tapped or wiped out. I'll drink my coffee. It's going to be right in the middle of them all, bet you.
It's not gonna cooperate.
Nah, yeah, I think that's it gone in it. So, yeah, that one there. So, and now obviously I didn't check out on the 5 second, all right, so continue. Yeah, it looks like shh. Is that an equal low? No. 10 second. I think that counts. Yeah, it counts as an equal low, doesn't it? I mean, if I'd have maybe spotted that, I should have marked that as a whole thing anyway, but I didn't. So, I mean, if that's an equal low, that might mean it's coming back. There's maybe some imbalance there. I didn't check the 5 second at the time, but yeah, I wouldn't have caught that one. I don't think so. Kind of irrelevant. But you get the general gist anyway. That was how I would have approached it at least.
Yep.
Might well still be live. Obviously, there's stuff below, and if that has, I mean, it looked like it had made an equal low, didn't it? But that's in a. Let me just check that again. Hell, why am I losing the plot here?
What?
I just drew that. What I marked up what looked like an equal low somewhere, and it's I don't know. Yeah, no, it's. I mean, it's very close to what would have been. Obviously, I said here. I mean, that came close there anyway, didn't it? Um, sorry, I was just confused, mate. Obviously, I remember saying about this one earlier. I says obviously there's this liquidity here. It filled that one, which might mean that it's the one above. It came very close to, uh, and because I was confused and I thought it would made an equal low, it hasn't. It's tapped into just an imbalance. So there's some left. So let's have a look on the lower time frame. 5 still looks like imbalance. And then hasn't done anything on the 1. So maybe still live. Who knows? Um, yeah, maybe it's up to you guys whether you decide to stick them a lower entry on than that anyway. Like I said, I always say anyway that if you're looking for buys, the ones that are lower are safer. Obviously, the higher ones are more risky because there's a good chance price will come through them. But they do often go from there. The only thing is now is if it takes this low, then it looks like a 1 minute break to the downside. So, but it all depends how you view the structure. So it looks like that this is all, although we get a couple of small lower time frame pullbacks here, the overall 15-minute might be this. So high, low, high, which means there is still an opportunity for price to come back, tap into summit before it makes a new possible 15-ish minute high. Obviously, that's a big push up there, so still possible. It would just mean that it was kind of like a 1 minute break to the downside, but the time frame above says it's still possible. So, is there any questions on that? Obviously, that didn't work.
No, it makes sense to me. Just gotta
Obviously, it didn't
get
work
a
out perfectly, but that's exactly the process. Just on this occasion, it was a few pipettes short of what would have been an entry zone.
yeah,
Uh,
it's all right.
yeah. Oh, it's just the market, isn't it? There's no,
Yeah,
yeah, 1.3 pips short of what would have been an entry.
outrageous.
So, yeah, I mean, for us, that's miles away, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
wouldn't even entertain it.
yeah. But I mean, if it had a tapped or if it taps it later down the line, you can get a nice 2 pips stop loss on that. If you can get anywhere near like that,
Look at
75-ish,
that.
you know.
That too.
Yeah. I mean, it's trending upwards. I don't even know what's to the left, to be fair. So I mean, it could be a big move. I don't. Yeah, you'd say that's maybe coming up to fill this sort of stuff. So, bigger move is potential. Dollars, dollars weakening, I believe.
Yeah, it has been recent, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
no question.
yeah. I think it's weakening. Although we might get some bullish. I mean, I'm still fairly sure it's coming up here at some point. It's just it might go a bit lower first before it does it. Because we've had a sweep and a break, tr trend line sweep, break above the fairest point pullback. So it might just come a bit lower, go a bit higher, and then overall low. But I think major higher time frame stuff, it's coming down, I believe. But obviously that can change with world events as well, so it's speculation, but I do think it will come lower over the next couple of years at least. Not that we look at them kind of higher time frame stuff. We were trying to trade for over a few days, but yeah. I mean, if that's it anyway, guys, I'll call it there, and you
Yeah,
can.
that's been
Okay,
great.
thanks, Lee.
Seeing it like from scratch and stuff, and then we can just watch the video back as well. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
been
yeah,
great.
yeah. Great,
Thank you.
fantastic, beautiful. Right, I'll speak to you all in the week. Let you enjoy the rest of your Sundays. Matt could
Thanks, all.
get to sleep now, so
I'm nodding off already.
yeah. See you later.
See you guys.
Bye.